well today. I wanted to jump on here and give you a little Monday inspiration. It has been tremendously windy here. We've had 50 and 60 mile an hour winds yesterday and into today. Today's not as harsh, but last night was quite something. But everything's still standing. We heard about 5, 6 trees drop behind us, but all of our structures are still standing. Nothing has been affected, and the sun's trying to come out. So huge praise there. Huge praise there. We were downstairs sleeping for a little while last night just as a precautionary measure because the winds were so harsh. It's just crazy when you're surrounded by tall timber. You need to protect yourselves and be really paying attention to your weather. Hello, Miss Deb. Hello, hello. Hello, Miss Carol. Hello, Mill. Awesome, awesome. Glad to have you guys popping on here today. I have some really good praises today. Deb says, working while listening and cleaning. Awesome. That's good. That is a good thing, is being able to accomplish things while you are listening. That's important. I was doing dishes earlier, and actually, normally I listen to my class, but I decided to just be silent, and it was very refreshing. However, I was listening to my class doing other chores. So yes, being able to multitask like that and listen to things is so priceless. So I'm glad you can listen in. Mill says, we have high winds too, sister. Yeah, it was freaky. It is really freaky. When you hear them snap, especially right behind us here, you hear them snap and then you hear them hit the ground. You're really thankful when they hit the ground and they don't hit anything else on the way down, because that is just freakier than ever. And thankfully, when they snap, I mean, the snaps we heard last night, we knew they were far enough away that they weren't going to take anything out. But man, I mean, it blew over Clem. Where's Jane? It blew over Clem last night. So that says something. Clem is a cement mixer. Jane named the cement mixer Clem, because I said it's an eyesore. Well, it got blown over last night in those winds. So that just gives you an idea what kind of winds we were dealing with. It was quite something. And Deb says, terribly windy at our home also yesterday and night. Yeah, yesterday afternoon wasn't too terrible, but man, about 8, 9 o'clock, it picked up here and it just went through the night. We were downstairs till about, I think it was like 2:30, and then we went upstairs, and as soon as we got upstairs, it picked up again, but we were both so exhausted, we just laid back down and figured we'd just get skewered. That would be the worst case scenario. So anybody heard from Toyka? Is she okay? I haven't heard from her. Her surgery is not scheduled till the 12th or 14th, I believe, of April. So no, I haven't heard from her. We'll have to reach out to her. Hopefully maybe she'll pop on here. SJR is joining in Maine, hoping the shingles stay on the roof. Lots of power outages and flooding in the north. Wow. Sending prayers your way. Glad to have you joining. What is your name? Love to have new people on here, so thankful to have you. Hello, Miss Tammy. She says, I can't remember you are on Mondays. That's okay. I have alarms set, so I don't forget too. So you're not alone. And I want to give you guys a heads up. In our community, as a benefit of being part of our community, I am going to do a live Zoom so that everybody can join in and be face-to-face. I did that last time and I fed it to YouTube, and I think I just want to make that a personal gathering. So I haven't decided the exact date on that, so I will share that on Thursday so you guys can write it on your calendar. And if you are not part of our community, go to TrayerWilderness.com/community. It is free, and we'd love to have you over there. Really great spot to share. SJR says, fir tree snapped off and fell on the neighbor's property. Lots of fallen trees. So far, not on my roof. Awesome. Continued prayers for that. We lost our smokehouse on the first homestead to a tree. And it didn't completely take it out, but it damaged the roof pretty good. And then it did its number that years later we had to take it down. And then we had a tree snap off and land on our woodshed. And had our woodshed not been full till the kilt, it would have taken that out too, because it was right above it. It sounded like it hit our truck, our trucks, and smashed the windows, but it was because the tree was coated in ice that when it hit the ground, it shattered from the ice. So we were really praising God on that. So yeah, wind is destructive. I mean, it can and you guys know our shop is plastic. So out there with the roof and everything. So, that's always a concern that just is going to blow off. But so far that has stayed in place too. Deb says, blew horrible fire ash from fire in September from south coast north into Canada, right through our area all day. Eye burning and on everything. Oh, wow. That's terrible. Afternoon, Miss Shelley. Yes, I don't know about you guys, but the weather around is just crazy. I mean, there was actually earthquakes in Idaho last week too. So just crazy, crazy stuff. SJR says sun said 60 miles an hour in Ohio about 4 days ago. Where is everyone from experiencing this wind? I'm in Idaho. Deb is in Washington State. I know Alabama and Georgia got socked last week with tornadoes that were on the ground. Our family, Glenn's sister, is that direction, and they were in a storm shelter and said it was on the ground traveling and missed our brother-in-law's family. And so Diana had messaged. That's how we were aware of the tornadoes, because she was on live with us on Thursday when that hit down and when it was touching down. So weather is just crazy. Melissa says hello here in Michigan. It's been cold and windy. No snow though lately. And Carol says, SJR, I'm from the UK. No wind here. Well, I'm glad you are not windy over there, because it is darn windy here. And we had snow all last week. Thankfully, none of it laid. Last night, through all the wind, it did rain, and then we let the dogs out at night, and it's snowing. So we woke up to snow on the ground, but it's disappearing now. Mills in western Colorado, so all out west here, we're catching a lot of wind, but Maine is having wind too. So pretty crazy. Tammy says we had winds since yesterday morning. No damage so far. So crazy though, isn't it? It's just the weather, like our weather here has been so strange. And speaking of weather, I wanted to share this with you guys. This is my praise today. One of my praises. If you recall, when we were building, we were living in the wall tent out back behind our containers, and Chad paid us a visit. And when Chad came up, we were expecting negative temps and snow the end of September, beginning of October. And we put the stove jack in there and enclosed everything with plastic and tarps so that we would be warm enough. And he built that wood stove out of the hot water heater, so we'd stay warm till we got the house built. And you know how I've been saying since we moved in here, I haven't felt well, and then that I've had an infection that won't go away. I had a UTI that just would not go away, and my body was just flaring. We went to town last week and signed some papers, and we were sitting in the office in there, and I could feel my throat tightening. And when we got out of there, my face was red. It was Thursday. When I was on live with you, remember how my face got so fire engine red? So this wasn't a normal reaction for me. Previously, when this would happen to me, it would be that I'd be flat on my back for 2 weeks or more, and I'd progress from there. But what happened is we put that stove jack in the plastic enclosed area, and that night I made dinner, and I made it on that Camp Chef with the 2 burners. I had the grill going, I had the grill burner going, we had the wood stove going, but in that corner where I had the sink and the shower and all the cooking equipment, I felt like my skin was melting off because it was just so hot. And my face flared, I mean bad. And that I came out, and Chad and Glenn were both like, wow, are you okay? Because your face is like fire engine red. Well, not thinking about it, I just thought it was from the heat. And now, looking back at it, through the help of a friend, that is when everything started. And that's when I started getting the UTIs. And what happened is that flare was because of the mold. And then every day at the end of the day, after working outside and feeling fabulous, I would go in that tent and sleep where there was mold. My body is extremely sensitive to mold, for those of you that are new to following us. Because of my illness and my surgery back, life-saving surgery back in 2016, and the healing journey I was on, my body was riddled with toxins, heavy metals, biotoxins, and mold and fungus internally. And so that is how sensitive my body is. And that is what has been happening, is that my body was overwhelmed with the amount of mold. And because I started taking antibiotics to try to fix that UTI, I then compounded things and increased that and added yeast to the equation. So the infection I had was because my body was in fight and flight, fighting to get rid of all the mold and the yeast. So praise God that I figured it out, because Thursday I flared from being in that office because there was obviously mold in there. And Friday we were tied up all day. Awesome day. I can't tell you about it yet. I can't wait till I can. But had a really awesome day with guests. And I felt like a train wreck. I was so out of sorts. It was a really good time, but I certainly wasn't myself. I just felt so out of sorts. And I had woke up feeling really funky and had such a weird, bad headache. Well, the headache was a result of pink eye popping out in both eyes by about 8 o'clock that night. So I ended up with double pink eye. And Friday evening was when I figured out what was happening to me. And that pink eye happens quite often for me when I'm pushing out toxins out of my body, because my body just flares and reacts and overreacts to everything. So I'm giving a huge praise that we figured out what it is and what it was, because I was heading to a place where I would end up hospitalized with IV antibiotics. And my body was just so overtaxed. I could feel it. I could feel it in my arms and my legs, that they were just like the feeling that I had previously when I was just overloaded with toxins. So I am praising God that we figured that out, because today I am finally feeling more human than I have in a long time. You know, we were thinking it was the house and the different things in the house, and it very well may have been. There was insulation, plywood, you know, the different glues that were used and stuff. So all that stuff my body is sensitive to. So what I did is I ran our ozone machine on Friday and Saturday. And I've always been running the diffusers in here, but I'm making it a huge point to keep them running on a regular basis and continuing to detox the mold and the yeast from my system. So praise God for that, because I was really not feeling well, and it was progressively and quickly getting worse. So Shelly says, was really windy yesterday, gusts up to 60 miles an hour, and is still windy here today. Lots of small limbs down. I live on Vancouver Island, Canada, SJR. Okay. And then SJR says, snow tonight in Maine, long range, predicted a foot in north. Hasn't happened yet. Yeah, our weather has been so all over the place. We had 65-degree weather. Well, and Tammy did too. Tammy had like 60-degree weather, and today it's 39. But 2 weeks ago, we had 65-degree weather. It was just absolutely like gorgeous t-shirt weather. And then it dropped last week into the 30s, and we had just nasty weather. You couldn't do anything outside. It wasn't laying, but it made it miserable to do anything. And today it's still too windy he's working on a job, and we wanted to get some things done here. So the rest of the week is supposed to be sunny and not windy, because today to try to work in the wind and handle plywood or anything is just a drag. You end up getting swept away with the stuff. So Mill says, OMG mold. Yes, it was terrible. And, it's been so long since I flared that way, but typically when I would flare, I'd be flat on my back. So it was the saving grace for me was that I was outside working on this house and detoxing with all the sweating and that. But then when we got in here and I wasn't on that regimen of hardcore work and you know, just natural detoxing, as well as being outside. And then I was in the toxins and the smells and everything. It just, I couldn't get it out of my system. So praising God, because man, I was really feeling terrible. And you know, I don't focus on that. I focus, and I don't want to give my mind the impression that it needs to do extra work. I just don't think about it. I just keep going, and I keep, you know, thinking about taking the things I can to try to improve and self-diagnose. But once we triggered that, it was like it all made sense. So thank goodness. SJR says, Shelley Passmore, I can't remember winds like this in recent memory across the country. I presume this came from the west and ended up on the east coast, but this wind is everywhere. Yeah, it's strange. It's really, really strange. Yes, me too, Melissa. Thank you. She says, glad you found answers. SJR said the black mold is horrible. Is this what the host was experiencing? Yeah, that's what I was experiencing was a result of black mold toxicity. So thanking God that we figured that out. Black mold is terrible. Black mold is deadly. And when you are affected by it, the other struggle is out here. That was probably the other thing compounding things. We get snow mold. I never heard of it before, but that is something that, and I forgot about that too. You know, every season it comes, you know, comes that time, and that will occasionally get the best of me too. So it's like I'm doomed being outside sometimes, but we went out, we were out a lot this weekend. That's my other praise. My mountain boy was home Saturday and Sunday, and Mountain Ben was here Saturday and Sunday. And then we had another friend over yesterday. We celebrated our Resurrection Day early because the mountain boy starts his automotive tech on April 5th, which would be the day after Easter, and driving, you know, the distance and all that. I wanted his first day to be good and not overtaxing or stressing for him. And it just worked out really good. So we had an awesome day yesterday. And Carol, we had a lamb roast, and it was just amazing. I don't know if I shared that with you guys, but we were blessed with some lamb. I had lamb steaks, not last Friday, but the Friday before. And we had some lamb burger, and then we had this roast. So it's just amazing. It's such good meat. Let me see here. Mill says, praise God. Melissa says, 43, it's nice to be out, but a little on the cool side. Yeah, it's been pretty raw here. That's the thing that's made it tough for us. It was 65, and then it got really that damp rawness and just kind of went through you. Shelley says, so happy that you were able to figure it all out. I am still taking oral antibiotics. I still have until Thursday evening. My eye, you can tell that it was red and swollen, so not completely healed. Well, we'll continue to pray. I'm glad you shared, because that was on my list to ask. So I'm glad you're doing well. And yeah, me too. I'm so grateful that we figured it out. Sterling came home last night for at least a couple of weeks to start on fence building jobs in the area. Awesome. So I'm sure you are celebrating. That is your praise today. I know that. Melissa says, glad you're feeling better. Yes, me too. Thank you. Deb says, mold is horrible. Had some moldy squash I overlooked downstairs and had to get them out yesterday. Yeah, black mold is just terrible. I mean, it really... It affects your health in such terrible, terrible ways. And if you are sensitive to it, it's deadly. I mean, if I would have continued on that route, I mean, because with things not healing and not changing, the next step was a more aggressive antibiotic. Had I done that, I probably would have ended up hospitalized. So it's incredible that I figured it out, because it would have been pretty deadly. Shelley says, that's great that Sterling is home for a short time, even though he will be busy. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm excited for you, Deb. Yes, wow. Miss Kelly says 70, 80 mile an hour winds here. Snowed this morning, was a total blizzard. I bet so. The snow is probably going sideways, completely horizontal. Gosh, I hope everything's still locked down and safe. Send in prayers your ways, because we had like 50, 60 mile an hour winds that were forecasted. I don't know what it got up to, but it was freaky. Tammy says, I was able to avoid a second round of antibiotics for my tooth infection by using oregano tea. Praise God. That's awesome, because the less we have to be on that stuff, the better. Like you always hear me say, there is a time and a place for modern medicine and big pharma, but you also know that for me, you know it's bad if I had to get a prescription. And so that just stinks. And isn't that great? Melissa says, that's great, Tammy Richards. I know, right, Tammy? She says, wow, Kelly, that's crazy stuff. That's like the kind of weather that you don't want to be out in. Afraid you'll blow away. You'll end up in Kansas. Shelly says, we used to get snow mold up here in northern Alberta when I lived there. That stuff made me sick and allergies acted up big time. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy stuff. I didn't even know there was such a thing. So for a while there, I was doomed inside. I was doomed outside. But the saving grace was that I was that active while we were building and outside in the fresh air all that time and only in there for such a limited amount of time. But it built up in my system, and without me knowing it and getting it out of my system, it just became a deadly hot mess. So definitely be careful if you guys have black mold of any kind, because it is really difficult. Like if you've got water leaks and stuff, you definitely want to get things like that taken care of right away, because if it sprouts black mold, it's hard to get rid of. It's so hard to get rid of. People always say that Clorox is the thing to get rid of black mold, but it doesn't kill it. White vinegar and sunshine are good if you have things that you can put, white vinegar on and put out in the sun. And there is a real extreme level of peroxide that is used by a lot of the professional cleaners that go in and get rid of the black mold. So that is one of the better things to use. But if you can avoid it, it is the best thing, because all it needs again is more moisture, and it will actually just start up again. So, and mold spores are the worst because, they spread so much. So it's just nasty stuff. Yeah, there is something called snow mold. Believe it or not, it is the craziest thing. I've been around 80 years and never heard of snow mold, right? I know. I was totally shocked. I had never heard of it either until we moved out here to Idaho. So yeah, so if you find yourself really having like respiratory issues in the wintertime and you have allergies and they seem to be spurring, typically it can be related to snow mold. So yeah, you have to look it up. You know what? As far as I know, you can't even see it. It's just that it forms, and I didn't even do a whole lot of research on it. I just know every season that it does affect me, and that it was affecting me. One of the ways we found out, and one of the things that helped us greatly, was on the old homestead, we were surrounded by tall timber, and because of that dark timber, for one, it limited our solar on the one side, and so we didn't get full sun at the end of the day. And the other thing was it held a lot of moisture, and we didn't realize that until they logged behind us. And when they logged and opened that up, that moisture went away, and so did the struggles I was having in the wintertime. So when the mold was there and the snow was there and that dark timber was there and keeping that snow there in place, that's when I struggled the most. So I'll have to look into it, because I really haven't looked into it other than knowing that it exists and that was what was giving me struggles. And I'm not going to stay inside because of it, but oh, you guys are awesome. Oh, she is on here. Awesome. She popped on. Miss Toika's in the house. I love it. But SJR, I'm going to look that up, because like I said, I never really looked it up. I just knew it existed, and I knew it got the best of me. But I still go outside and still try to get as much fresh air as I can. That's always the best. And SJR says, anyone ever have snow fleas around the maple syrup pails? Wow, a tree just fell. Woo! Way back in, but I could hear it hit the ground. That's such a weird sound. We have not done maple syrup ourselves. Laura is not on here today. I did not see Space Girl on here. Good question, though. And I will, if you join, I'm going to be live again on Thursday. I'm live on Mondays at 2:30. and Thursdays at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard. So join us again, or join our community as well, because I'll rattle that question off in the community. Laura, I know, does maple syrup, and I believe there's a couple others that do maple syrup. So we can check on that. And that's something I never heard of, is snow fleas. That's pretty crazy. But and join the community. I don't know if I just said it, but TrayerWilderness.com/community. We have a fabulous community of people and would love to have you. Snow mold happens when dirt lands on top of the snow in the winter winds. The mold then grows on the dirt. Interesting. I know, I heard that. It's the trees falling. You're okay. Lay down. Good dogs. Sorry. So interesting. Okay. So then it's basically growing on the soil still, and also coming up from the soil. So interesting. Carol says, Deb, so happy Sterling is home for a while. Yeah, isn't that awesome? Miss Toika, how are you? We were all wondering. We were questioning where you were and how you were doing. So hopefully your pain is under control. Carol was missing her because the two of them are partners in crime. That's why. Mill says, awesome, you know your body so well. So many don't. I'm very thankful too for that. Because I always have been, but through my illness, I really became very, very extremely in tune with my body, in an effort to heal and to read my body, to know what it needed when. And, you know, sometimes that can be a bad thing because people focus too much on that. Like I said, I'm the kind of person, I'll wake up and I'll be in great pain and I'll be like, oh, I feel so good. I'm going to have such a great day, because that's what I want my brain to believe, because our brain listens to what we think and what we say. And you say that you are not feeling well, the little minions in there start trying to find out what they need to work on to make you feel better. And it kind of puts you in a fight and flight mode unintentionally. So that's why not only do I have a positive mindset, but I try to tell my body other things so that it stays on a good pathway and doesn't revert to negative pathways. So it's important to really be in tune with our bodies and pay attention to our bodies. You know, for me, it's really easy because we eat so clean and everything. Like before, when we would eat and, you know, eat stuff, like if we were out, you know, you eat something that's non-GMO or organic, but they put MSG in it or something, you know, I would instantly flare. Like now I instantly flare. So I know what's causing my issues, and actually I avoid so much. But before, when you're eating like you're just eating on the go and you're eating stuff, you have no idea what's causing it. But because we eat so clean, it's like and we live so cleanly that when something is affecting me, it's pretty easy to figure out what's causing it. So that is a benefit too, and that's what helps. So let me see here. You guys are good. I love these conversations. We end up with so much good stuff. Okay, so okay, Melissa says, just curious, do you use some sort of an air purifier? Yes, it is actually an air purifier, and it is an ozone machine. I will share a link to that on Thursday. It is a fabulous machine, and pulls like 99.9% of the garbage out of your air. So that helped a lot too with all the excess odors that we had in here from the building materials. Because man, building materials have so much toxins in them and odors and just dirt and grime, you know, they're being transported and stuff. So it's really important, you know, if you're sensitive to that stuff, to be prepared to ward it off. Again, that's why I told you I bought all my plants too, in an effort to feel better. So, and those, I keep hitting the one button, sorry. And all these plants I have in the house are the ones that pull toxins from the air and give you really good purified air. So you can do that naturally as well, not just with a machine. But I will share that machine on Thursday because I don't have the details with me down here. Yes, oregano is the bomb. It is awesome, awesome stuff. I was actually doing capsules veggie capsules of oregano and thieves and frankincense for 7 days trying to get rid of this infection. But my body was so inflamed, so crazy. I mean, that should have wiped it out big time. And of course, when I say I was doing that, I want to give you the disclaimer. You need to be really, really careful with oregano oil and cinnamon oil. They are hot oils. People have had holes eaten down through their esophagus because they're taking it internally and not putting it in a gel cap. And gel caps, the oregano and the cinnamon, because they're so hot, will eat through them very quickly. So you make your gel caps and you ingest them very quickly because you don't want them to start working your system until they are in your gut. You don't want them to be working their way down because they can do damage. So it's having an appreciation for your essential oils, because although they are very helpful, they are powerful, and some more than others can be very dangerous if you don't take them properly. Kelly says, thankful for the moisture, and yes, it was sideways from northwest to southeast. I believe it. Those winds, good grief, that's scary stuff. Tammy R., glad the oregano tea worked for you. Praise the Lord. Amen, right? And SJR says, Shelly, thank you. Probably have seen it and never knew what I was looking at. Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, it's not like it's a clear thing that you can identify. But it's there. It's present. Never heard of snow mold before. Yes, I hadn't either, but it does exist. Miss Kelly said, I heard vinegar works far better than bleach for black mold. Yep, that's exactly it. Everybody always goes for Clorox, and bleach, and white vinegar is and the sunshine is the best things for mold. Tammy says, Kelly, yes, thank you for being a lifesaver. Oh, awesome. Good deal. Deb says, I believe the snow mold is between snow and the soil and the plant growth. Yep, I believe that now that Shelly showed what she did. Kelly says, I'm glad I shared with you, Tammy R. I don't always think of everything that can help. I know, oftentimes there's so many different things. It's really funny because I had been taking so many different things for the UTI, trying to diagnose that and treat that, and I just couldn't understand why nothing was working. And now that it's all been like an aha moment, it all makes sense. So and then having all the different remedies, that's another thing, guys. I haven't had to buy any supplements of any kind because we stock up on the ones I know I need for my healing, and I have 2 totes full of raw herbs that I can make any concoction I need to when I need to. And knowing those things and learning those things and creating, I have an Evernote, multiple Evernotes actually, with just natural health tags with all my recipes and all my different things that work for different things. And sometimes, your body, just like with antibiotics, your body can get adjusted to certain supplements or herbs. So switching it up is also helpful. And I wanted to thank, I think it was Keith from New Zealand, shared about using Manuka honey and colloidal silver. So I added that to my mix also. So was real thankful for that. So if you are watching this, thank you. And for those of you watching the replay, leave your comments and questions in the comments, because we will definitely get back to you and cover any questions you might have. SJR says, my cellar was damp, had that musty smell. I put calcium chloride in pillowcases and attached to joints. They collect the moisture and drips into the place underneath the buckets. So it actually was absorbing the moisture then down there and enabling you to get it out of there. That's pretty awesome. And the calcium chloride is what drew the moisture. Interesting. Kelly says, hey, everyone, give a thumbs up and a share. Thank you. Yes, Please, if you like this, hit the like button. Constantly leave your comments. Your comments are always refreshing to know that you guys are watching, and your questions are very valuable because if you have the questions, so does somebody else. So we always like addressing the questions. And of course, if you're getting something from these videos, be sure to share them and subscribe. Deb says you should be receiving a card and letter in the post office box soon. Oh, well, fun. Thank you. And Mill says, I bought your cookbook, sister. Can't wait to get it and get to cooking. Awesome. Fantastic. I am glad to hear that. And I hope you enjoy it. I'm actually working on the next one. And then we're going to have a Trayer Wilderness family cookbook coming out. I'm compiling recipes for that. Welcome 222 Mission. Where are you joining us from? And if you're willing to, we would love to know your name. Thank you, Miss Shelley. She says, please hit the like button. Kelly says, I'll share photos of our new goat kids born at 12:30 a.m. this morning. 1 buck and 1 doe, all doing well. We're keeping them in the barn today. They'd blow away. Yeah, no kidding. That would be awesome. Share in the community. Would love to see that. They are so adorable. I miss our goats. They were so personable. But we're excited. We're still taking some time off to breathe and to have time to do things without animals, because once you have animals, if you don't have somebody reliable and faithful that is willing to come and take care of your animals, you're kind of steadfast. And we've been steadfast for 11 years with between animals and my health. So there's a couple things we want to accomplish this year. And then I'm anxious to get our animals going back here again. So that'll be exciting. Let me see here. You guys are, this is awesome. I'm having to keep, hey, Nicole is in the house this time. Welcome, lady. And if Kayla is with you, hello, Miss Kayla. So glad to have you guys joining. You have been heavy in our prayers and on my mind. Melissa says, okay, or, oh, thanks. I've been using a box fan with good furnace filter. I'll probably get another Austin Air if I can soon. Awesome. Well, and I'll share that machine with you. It's pretty awesome. They are pricey. We were actually gifted this one, and it has been a saving grace. Toyka says, hey, Carol, working on physical therapy for my knee. I messed it up. Ooh, when twisted a bit, now sharp pain, only when walking. Calling doctor today. Overall pain is okay. Well, praying for you, and we'll continue to pray. Tell me again when your next surgery is. Is it April 12th? That's what is in my mind. Nicole, how are you guys? And what, I'm just excited. I've seen, your video titles. I haven't been able to watch all of them, but I'm so glad to have you on here. Your journey is exciting. Let me see here. SJR says to Kelly, cute. My neighbor used to raise goats of all kinds. She was crazy for them, for the mini to all kinds and sizes. I remember her helping with the burst out in the cold. Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. SJR, are you willing to share your name with us? It's always fun to have new people joining, and this community, oh my goodness, you won't find a more welcoming community and loving community, but it's nice to put a name with a channel name, so that way we can actually call you by name. If not, I totally get it. Melissa says to Kelly, sounds cute. I'll look out for the pics. They are adorable. They're so tiny. Carol says, so glad you're doing a bit better, Toyka. I'm sending a ginormous hugs and lots of love and healing thoughts for you, girl. I miss you. She misses her sidekick, right? And yes, Toyka, we will be praying for you. Is Lorenzo with you, Carol? Hi, Lorenzo, if you're there. Let me see here. SJR says to Melissa, oh, thanks. I've been using a box fan with a good furnace filter. I just saw the box fan furnace filter set up on YouTube. I was thinking of doing the same. I'm going to have to check that out. I had never heard of that before. Melissa says back, it works real well. I get the better furnace filters. Higher Merv, let me know how it works for you. Awesome. Oh my goodness. Sorry, I'm sitting here and all of a sudden it's like this big puff of smoke. With the winds blowing, it's actually blowing the smoke back into the house. I got my shower this morning and opened the door, and the suction from me opening the door and the wind, I ended up in like this, it looked like a smokehouse. It was terrible. Thankfully, it was before I got my shower. Man, it got smoky in here. Blech. Let me see here. Kelly says, you need a hard copy of that information too. I have a binder full. I know, right? Regarding my notes, yes, I know. I need to print out my Evernote. My Evernote is full of such valuable information, and that is a very good point, because if things were to ever fall apart, our electronics are not necessarily going to last. If there's an EMP and they're not in a cage, they're going to be worthless. And at some point, you know, hard copy's the best. Let's just put it that way. So I agree. I totally agree. Awesome. So Kelly's going to post her pictures then. Awesome. Awesome. SJR said she's going to give that a try, and thanks for the feedback. Tammy says, Mill, the banana bread in the cookbook is so good. Awesome. Thank you. That's actually what I made on Friday for our guests on Friday. We had banana nut bread. And this is my trick, and I don't remember if I have it in the, I'm pretty sure I mentioned it in the cookbook. But anytime I make a bread or a cake, I take the really big granules of raw organic cane sugar, and I sprinkle it across the top of my cake. Even though my cake has either, wow, just totally went blank, monk fruit sweetener in it or coconut palm sugar in it, the tops of my cakes get the sugar on top, just because it just adds, it like caramelizes on top of the cakes and that. So it's really, really awesome. Yes, Kelly says, animals tie you down, but we love them. I know. I love ours too. I miss them because it's just such a unique experience. They're so personable. But we have a couple things we wanted to do and get out and do some things, because oftentimes one of us can go or the other. We can't both go at the same time. And that was the whole purpose of us doing this, was so that we could do stuff together. So we're also being strategic on the types of animals we're going to get, and that we could give them feed and water and they would be okay for a couple days by themselves, is our goal. So we shall see. Man, it keeps puffing in here. Carol says, okay, guys, I need some help. Well, as you know, I bought a little mini greenhouse for me and my grandson to have a go at growing. How deep do my trays need to be for carrots and for horseradish? My thoughts with that would be, my personal experience would be, it's going to be a little hard to do that in your mini greenhouse with things that are going to require depth. So what you might want to do is get buckets that you can put out back or on a patio, that you can plant your potatoes and your carrots and what was the other thing you mentioned? The horseradish in. Horseradish takes tremendous root. Like it's a root vegetable, so it takes up a lot of space. So my thoughts on that would be to use buckets for those, and grow other things in your little mini greenhouse if you can. But I know that Tammy and Kelly are doing things as well, so they might have a unique twist on those and maybe some different advice. So Tammy and Kelly, and anybody else, if you want to chime in. Toyka says, Carol, partner in crime, right? You have been missing a bit. I was on and we have been missing each other. Yeah, you guys have been missing each other. And no sooner than I was off live or shortly thereafter, Carol popped in the other day. Let me see here. SJR says, yes, same calcium chloride put on dirt road attracts moisture to lay the dust. So it also works in the pillowcases technique, but put calcium into the pillowcases, hang in buckets, collect the water. That's really awesome. Thank you for sharing that. That's really, really awesome. And you mentioned that you're 80 years, so I'm sure you have some awesome experience. We would love to have you join our community, because it's hard to tap into such useful information, and we would love to have you share, because I'm sure you've got a wealth of information, my dear. And I'm assuming you're a female, so if I'm incorrect, forgive me. SJR, ours are Nubian dairy goats. Mill says, Tammy, thank you to Tammy Richards. Yeah, banana bread is good. And the other thing I forgot to put the chocolate chips in. Do you know that chocolate chips go good in anything? I make a chocolate cake, I put chocolate chips in it, because then it gives it like that fudgy, it's really good. But my banana nut bread, I always put chocolate chips in too. So Nicole says we're good. We are busy with the new business, but we are loving it. After RVing for 4 years, we are finally moving into a house. Praise the Lord. Very cool. I saw the lodge that you're at. I just didn't know the whole storyline behind it all. But we've been missing you and the kids for sure. And the Kids Corner is on Fridays at 2:30 Pacific Standard Time. And I will share the link with you so they can log in and access the replays, and that you have the link. I'm sending out emails every week prior to, it's early in the morning of the day that we do the Kids Corner on Friday, and then like 15 minutes prior to going live, there should be another email. So if you're not getting them, check your spam folder. And for those of you that have kids or grandkids, you can go to trayerwilderness.com/kidscorner and sign up for the book reading I do on Fridays. And we will have a guest joining us, and then the author of the book will be joining us towards the end of the book. So it's going to be pretty awesome stuff. And girl, we are praising your God-directed journey and your move, Nicole. And you'll have to join us when we do the live Zoom in the community. I don't know if you're part of the community or not. I can't recall. But if you're not, go to trayerwilderness.com/community. We'd love to have you join in the Zoom when I do that. I will be announcing the date and time on Thursday and sending an email out about it. But you can join. And what we'll do is, just as our community alone, we're going to Zoom and get to know each other even more, and face to face. It'll be fun. Carol says, Toyka, my phone updated a few weeks ago and now I get no notifications. That stinks. So it's still not working. That's terrible. It's 11:27 here. Okay, so no, Lorenzo is in bed long ago. Toyka, the phone shop finally reopens next week. I can go and find out what's happening. So you're actually coming out of your lockdown, Carol? That's awesome. SJR says to Kelly, I got a flashback as a going away present. My aunt and uncle received a nanny goat as from their co-workers. They built her a little milk house and made cheese from her milk. Awesome. That's why we had goats too, was so we'd have the milk. But they're hysterical. They are like really good watch animals, like real protective. They would always protect me, and they eat the garbage on the homestead and get it cleared out really nice. They took care of a lot of our underbrush. Yeah, Toyka says, oh my goodness, Carol, you're up late. I've really come to understand that Carol doesn't sleep. Carol's like beyond nocturnal. Toyka says, oh good, Carol, upgrades can be so frustrating. Yes, they can. SJR says to Kelly, she was like a dog. She followed us everywhere, spoiled. They're really crazy. We free-ranged our goats, and when we would go for a walk, they would try to follow. And the one time we had somebody pop in that was kind of, they weren't supposed to be back here. There was a piece of land for sale, and they were kind of displaced. And they were walking back, and the goats were free range. I came out with the dogs. The dogs are behind me, and next thing you know, here comes a goat, and then another goat. We have 6 of them. They all followed in behind me, and one of the goats tried to protect me as much as Copper did, so they were butting heads trying to be the closest to me. It had to look like a circus. I mean, it had to be so funny. I can't imagine what it looked like. So let's see here. So Carol says, Toyka, I'm a night owl. Usually about 2 to 3 a.m. I go to sleep, normally up by about 8 or 9. Remember, we are on our third lockdown. Yeah, I know you are, sister. That's crazy. Kelly says tires stacked on top of each other and filled with soil work great, Carol, for root crops. And Mill says, I decided against goats. I decided to barter for milk instead. Too much work for me. There you go. And that's a great way to work around it. There's a lady in the biggest town closest to us that breeds goats and raises goats, and she sells the milk. And because of Austin being autistic, she was willing to give us a discount on the milk. But then we ended up getting our own. But that's a great thing to do, is to barter. Absolutely. SJR says, thank you for the shout out. I have to get wood in before it gets dark in the woodshed. Great conversations. Thank you to the host and all for the good back and forth. Enjoyed. Awesome. Well, it was fun having you here. Join us some more. It was enjoyable. And be safe there in Maine. Hopefully no trees fall and you don't get too much snow. God bless. Kelly says to Mill, they are a lot of work, but I'm a lazy milkmaid to let the babies have the milk all day and lock them away at night and milk in the morning. That's the way to do it too, though. You know, you conserve and save yourself and still get what you need. Tires, brilliant idea. My son-in-law drives drift cars, so he has lots of tires. Thank you. Awesome idea. There you go. There you go. That'll save you from buying buckets, and you can... How is your soil there, Carol? Do you have good dirt that you can grow in? Because, yeah, then you can just throw it in the tires and go to town. Toika says, yes, chocolate chips go in everything unless you are allergic to chocolate. Carob chips. Carob chips are really good. They have them on Amazon. I can't think of the name, but it's an Australian company. And it's carob with stevia. And, no, carobs with, it's either monk fruit or dates, but it's really, they're really good. Carob is really, really good. So, it was really funny. The people that were here on Friday, they were really impressed with my organization of my shelving, and they noticed that my two biggest jars, at least the two that were showing on the ends, were chocolate chips and coffee beans. And I said, no, there's more big jars behind each of the small jars. And I moved jars. And he goes, what are they? And I just started busting up because the two I moved, I could have moved any of them, but the two I moved, it was cocoa and carob powder. So it just added to the chocolate that he saw. So that was pretty funny. But carob powder you can purchase, organic carob powder, and you can get the carob chips, which are really good. Nice. Carol says, take care, SGR. Nice to meet you. Prayers and love for you. Nicole says, that's great. The kids adore that time. Thank you so much. I'm totally going to check out the live Zoom. Awesome. We would love to have you. Then you can share live, with us what you've got going on, because it's really awesome. And if you want to put it here and a link to your channel, have at it, because it's pretty cool. And tell Kayla. Kayla did a video on their channel about going roller skating. And I know you had the comments off on that, and I totally get why. But I used roller skating was my favorite thing in the world to do as a kid. When I was in kindergarten, I got a pair of those metal wheeled roller skates. And I used those so much that by the time I hit third grade, the wheels split in half and fell apart. But I used to be on a speed team with roller skates. And then I switched from roller speed skates to roller blades. And I'd take my kids to a playground where the outside of the playground was a track, a concrete track, and that way I could see them playing and I could rollerblade while they were, so I could get a good workout in while they were playing at the playground. So that was pretty fun. So when she shared that, I got a good smile out of that. So let me see here. Went back too far. Let me see. I'm trying to figure out where we were here. You guys are commenting a lot. That's awesome. And I'm glad the kids enjoy it, Nicole, because I enjoy having them on, and Tammy's girls are on every week, so it'll be fun. Kelly says, SJR, ours think they are people, love attention and treats. Yeah, they're so funny. I love goats. Carol says, sort of coming out of lockdown. It will be over a month. Well, still, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Mill says to Kelly, that is so amazing. I bet you have so much fun with them. I love goats. Carol says, Nicole, so pleased for you. Awesome. Toika's a night owl too. Toika, find me on Facebook. It's the same picture as here. It's Carol Austin. You can chat. There you go. Yeah, get connected, you guys. Carol says, I bought my soil and compost as I have a concrete garden. Okay. And Kelly says, the mill, we do enjoy them. They are our entertainment. Deb says, you were found out your chocolate fixes. Yeah, I know. I was busted big time. It was just really funny. And my coffee. And coffee beans are really good when you coat them in chocolate. Let's see here. Deb says, my folks meet at the Boise roller. Oh, they met at the Boise roller skating rink in 1957. We were raised in metal strap-ons. That's what I had. And wooden wheeled roller skates. Yep, love it. Yes, the ones I had were the strap-on ones that I busted the wheels in half. That was really funny. And then my mom's was my next pair of skates, and it was really beat. Like the leather was just so dry rotted. You know, it was really brittle. And the wheels were wooden. That was my next pair that I used until I got my my speed skates of my own instead of renting them at the roller rink. Another funny is Glenn's grandmother used to roller skate, which I thought was so cool. She absolutely loved roller skating. And then when she met Glenn's grandfather, he didn't roller skate, so she hasn't roller skated since. But that just made me smile. That's so cool. Toika says, yeah, you know, planting in a kiddie pool is another option. Yes. Was it you and Melissa that were talking about that the other day? That's a great option too. Although that may not be deep enough that you get the full length of your carrots or potatoes for that matter. So the tires would be good for that. But yes, that was really priceless sharing that last week, because I want to do popcorn and I want to do sweet corn, but you can't have them growing together or they'll cross-pollinate. So that enables me to put kiddie pools at far ends of the property and be able to grow both. So I'm excited. Let me see here. Tammy says, I spent every weekend at the roller rink in high school. Miss it. I know. That was like my favorite thing. I was on roller skates from age 5 and up, and my kids were on roller skates at age 2. That's funny. So cool. So you said true, Toik. I imagine you meant because of the depth of the baby pools, but they're great for growing. You know, I mean, my goodness, you could grow so many greens in a kiddie pool. That's awesome. That's an awesome way to do things and be able to really enrich your soil. It's no different than a raised bed, so that's really awesome. Toika, that's another idea. I have spud bags for the potatoes. They got a little flap on the side to get me spuds out. That's awesome. I didn't know they made such a thing, so that's cool. Mill says, our mom used to let us live at the rink as well. I used to dream about skating sometimes. One of my friends is on the roller derby. She's younger than I am, but I don't think by a whole lot. And she's on the roller derby, which just cracks me up. We used to watch that at my grandparents', the roller derby back in the day, where the women were like beating the snot out of each other. That's just so funny. What a topic today. That's hysterical. But Kayla started that process. I thought that was really cool that she got to go roller skating. Shelly says, I plan on planting my corn, beans, and squash together. Look up the 3 sisters planting. I've seen them. That's awesome. There you go. Companion planting is really important because you the plants give each other the nutrients they need. Let me see here. Nicole says she loves your skating story. Says thanks for sharing. Yeah, I have another skating story to share with you. When we moved to the house that I grew up in that was built in 1749, it had a huge barn, and it had the old cattle ramps in it. And we would roller skate in that house because when you entered that house, it was this big wooden floored room that it was like a huge hallway that was, I think it was like 10 or 12 feet wide. So we would roller skate in there. We would roller skate in the barn. Well, I was told not to roller skate on the cattle ramps, and I didn't listen. So I fell, and I broke my wrist, my right wrist doing that, and I had broke my left wrist a couple years before. So yeah, And that was not a pretty one. I should have listened because my hand was here. My wrist was right, like my arm was down below, but my wrist was sticking way out. I like the way I caught myself. I popped my wrist bone pretty bad. So yeah, I should have listened on that one. But I was like a maniac on roller skates and on wheels. Skateboards too, but I like the skates and the rollerblades a whole lot more. I used to take Austin to preschool in a jogger stroller, and he would wear a helmet and be strapped in the three-point harness in the jogger stroller, and I would wear my rollerblades. His preschool was 3 miles away from my house, so we would do that every morning, and I would go back and pick him up that way. That was my workout for the day. Thankfully, the roads weren't too heavily traveled where we were living at the time, and I was able to do that, but that was pretty fun too. Let me see here. Roller derby. Yes, Mill says. I know, right? We had an unfinished basement and roller skated in it. I know. So fun. So fun. I have my rollerblades. As a matter of fact, 3 years ago, there's a track that goes around the one lake here, and it used to be the old railroad bed, and I went out there and was rollerblading. That was pretty awesome. Although my legs are not what they once were, I have to continue to work on that. And of course, I can't do any rollerblading out here, but I do intend to get my bike out and start riding the mountain and get these legs in shape, that's for sure. Kelly says, yes, rational planting and companion planting are key to my garden planning each year. Awesome. Love to have you ladies share your garden plans. That would be pretty awesome too. If you guys feel compelled to do so, I would love it if you would share that in the community. Deb says some of our favorite 4-H activities were roller skating. One of the rinks was built around 3 huge cottonwood trees that were in the middle in a line inside the rink, made for awesome skating. Oh, that's awesome. That is so cool. That track that I used to go around when the kids were little was actually arced at the corners, so you could catch some nice speed going around those things. So fun. I figured I wasn't the only one that enjoyed roller skating, but this is funny. Toika says, yes, Tammy, I didn't have much explanation, so wanted to expand. If you use Tom Thumb carrot seeds, and you can mound up the potatoes or squash. Oh, pretty cool. All right, good deal. There you go. We have the baby pool expert in the house, so that's awesome. So there you go, Carol. There's another option. And thank you for expanding on that. Shelly says, I used to figure skate when I was in elementary school. Awesome. That's pretty cool. And I imagine you guys like ice skating. My ankles are weak, though, so I have hockey skates because anything less than that, my ankles don't get enough support. But my girlfriend and I used to go ice skating all the time. We would just find water where we could skate on. So a couple times we did some things that were probably not the safest. I imagine I'm not alone in that in my childhood, but we, at that time you were allowed to just go. So my girlfriend and I would go, and we would, went back in this one field where there was a big pond, and we took this huge rope and would tie it off to a tree and go out and ice skate and hang on to the rope, and just kind of, we'd each have a rope, and we would be ice skating with a rope in hand in case the ice broke. Not probably the wisest, but the man is in the house. Whoa. Carol's in the house.
Huh?
Everybody's getting wins.
Hey, everybody.
It's crazy. Maine, there was a woman joining us, or a person joining us from Maine. They're in their 80s, and we had a good conversation. But they are having insane winds, and Kelly's got 70 to 80 mile an hour winds going on. So,
are you trying to air out the shower house?
What do you mean? That's what that bang was. The door opened. No. The dogs barked. We heard a tree fall, and no, so that opened on its own since I'm in here. So, will you be kind enough to close it?
I thought you were trying to air the bathroom out.
Well, I did do that after I showered because it was so hot in there, but no. Oh, crazy man. Okay, so where were we? Deb says, oh yes, the basement roller rink in our home too. Yes, we had one, but it wasn't just one solid thing. It was all these little rooms, so it was a little dangerous, and the ceiling was low at spots, so it could be deadly. So ours was just the hallway, which was funny. Kelly says, I'll take a picture of my garden drawing for this year. I keep a garden journal and it's fun to look back. Mine dated back to 1998. Fabulous. That's awesome. Deb says, now ice skating is a whole new challenge for me. Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't break hips ice skating. Ice skating was a little more deadly. Carol says, what time is it there? At the weekend, we went an hour forward. Okay, yeah, so it is... Can't see my clock. Hang on, Carol. I'll tell you in a second. 3:53 Pacific Standard Time is what it is. Yes, Deb says weak ankles for me too. Yeah, I can't jog with sneakers. I've got to jog with high tops. Tammy says that was my problem with ice skating, weak ankles. Yep. Shelly says I cannot skate without toe picks. I loved skating, could do a couple small jumps and spins. Yeah, we were pretty crazy. We were doing high jumps and stuff on roller skates. So that's pretty cool, Shelly. Yep. Kelly says weak ankles for me too, so ice skating isn't a good idea for me. Yeah, only on hockey skates. Oh, Carol, I'll tell him you said so. She says, we love you, Mountain Man. And Sterling said to tell Glenn hello. I will do that. Toyka says, oh, expert. Maybe I should plant in a baby pool before I claim that title. You're funny. And Mill says to hi and bye to the Mountain Man. Right, exactly. He's in, he's gone. So that bang that we heard and the dogs barking was the shower house door blowing open in the wind. Nice. Mill says no garden this year. Still moving. That's okay. Good things take time. So ours, I don't know that we'll have a garden either, but we are going to have our greenhouse. And our greenhouse tin did not blow away in the heavy winds, praise God. We had that covered well. So lots of good things to praise this week. One of the things that I wanted to ask you guys today that we didn't ask yet is, what is one thing that you guys would like to accomplish? It could be anything. And do you have a plan to accomplish it, or are you uncertain on how to accomplish it? So that would be good. The door is built well. You should be fine. I know, it's one hefty duty door. I know. And it was hot in there. I had to get like my jeans and my tank top on and open the door because I started sweating today because it was so hot in there. It's like our sauna. Yeah. And like I said, it was like a smokehouse and a sauna at the same time because the wind was making the stove puff. So it was interesting. Our life is interesting. I imagine your guys' life is interesting too. Maybe not as crazy as ours, but everybody has something interesting going on. So I have something I want to read while you guys share with me what you are wanting to accomplish. And it can be more than one thing. But definitely share with me because I know you guys have things you want to accomplish. So this is Hebrews 12:1. It said, let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. I love that verse. I so love that verse. So the story is told of a traveler who met a guru along the road and asked him, where's the road to success? The bearded sage didn't speak, but instead pointed to a place off in the far distance. The man, thrilled at the prospect of an easy success, rushed off in the appropriate direction. Splat! Down he went. He limped back, bruised and stunned. Assuming he must have misinterpreted the message, he repeated his question, and again the philosopher pointed silently in the same direction. So the traveler took off once more. This time the splat was deafening. Crawling back, bloody, broken, and irate, he shouted at the guru, I ask you which way is success. I followed the direction you indicated, and all I got was splattered. No more pointing, talk. Only then did the sage speak. Success is that way. It's just a little beyond the splat. The fact is, all of us have experienced the splat. There's no way to avoid it, but it's what we do after the splat that makes all the difference, and perseverance always wins. The Bible says, let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. Champion racer Rick Mears is attributed with saying, to finish first, you must first finish. Those are good words. So if you've fallen, get up again and keep going. American educator Hamilton Holt said, nothing worthwhile comes easily. Half effort does not produce half results. It produces no results. Work, continuous work, and hard work is the only way to accomplish results that last. So the word for you today is keep persevering and you'll win. So, and it's called Perseverance Pays Off. And how many of you can agree with that? I can agree with that. We've got to be perseverant. We've got to be willing to walk past the splat and the hardships and the ups and downs and keep pushing forward to reach our goals. So Miss Carol says, Mountain Man, we love you. And Mill says, hi, Mountain Man, bye, Mountain Man. And Kelly said, the door is built so well, you should be fine.
I hope so.
It was weird. We heard the bang. I didn't know what it was for certain, but we had heard a tree fall before that, so I wasn't quite sure. Carol says, oh, no, wait a minute. Not allowing the crazy to annoy me. Happy, happy, no matter what. Yep, that's what you got to do, because otherwise you'll be annoyed all the time, right? There is always something crazy. What?
I'm a little crazy.
Oh, they know you're a lot crazy, right? He's a lot crazy. He's with me. Carol says, oh no, my home's going to get blown away. Tell Mountain Man to nail down my bathhouse.
I got her taken care of.
I was going to say, we haven't had that conversation in a while. That's funny.
I got it taken care of. Don't worry.
Ooh, am I seeing checks?
I don't know.
Ooh, it looked like it. Deb says he was the mailman today. He drew the short straw. Deb says, I want to travel across the country in my vehicle and meet a lot of my favorite new YouTube families this year and go to one of the live gatherings. Well, there you go. There you go. So that's a good goal. And are you planning it, mapping it out? Carol says, oh, Debs, you coming to meet me? I'm telling you, it'd be so much fun if we could all get together. It would be pretty wild and crazy. Were you going to say something more to me?
Oh, I have all kinds of stuff I could say to you, but...
I know. You're pausing. Are you saying something to everybody?
Not really.
Do you have something insightful to share?
Probably not.
Okay.
Nothing they could use.
Not today.
I don't think so.
All right. Are you...
I'm just trying to prioritize.
Oh, so that's what was happening. I should have picked up on that. That was the brain turning, not you wanting to... No. You sort of opened your mouth, so I thought maybe you were going to say something to me.
I'm just thinking of what needs to be done next.
All right. Well, I'll let you keep thinking then, because it looks painful. Oh. If you can't have fun, why bother, right? So, all right, you figured it out now?
I think so.
Okay, all right.
These ones been out lately?
Yeah, I let them out before I went live. So they're good. All right, so let me see here. Shelly says, I want to work hard to have a productive garden and hope to get some more renovations done. I want to go camping and practice cooking off grid. I would love to spend time with my new granddaughter. There you go. Awesome. Awesome. And you're putting the plans in place to make that happen, so that is good. What we need to do is keep those things in sight and keep concentrating on them and keep taking the baby steps to make them a reality. Deb says, totally agree on work and making our lives prosper. Exactly. And you know, Deb, I love your thoughts on that, because stuff like that in our lives makes our lives different. It gives us variety. It gives us opportunities to glean information from other people. We have some things lining up in our year this year that are going to be really exciting. I don't know. We're praying about them and seeing what God does with them, seeing what happens in our world to see if they will come to fruition. But we're planning to do these things. And as they progress and as things start to manifest, we will share them with you, because actually that has been one of my goals, was to come and, and to travel around and to speak in different locations and also connect with different people while in those areas. So that is kind of a little bit of a thought process that is floating through my brain. So, good idea. There you go. Yep. Deb said this. I didn't see that one, while helping others along the way. Yes. Hello, Miss Jane. Jane is in the house. We were talking about you earlier because Clem blew over in our high winds last night. Hopefully you made it through the high winds, and hopefully you're feeling well today. Deb says, yep, Carol, I'll put my floaties on. There you go. Yep, yep. Thank you, Mountain Man. Don't want to lose her house. Nope, we've got it secured. Kelly says, working on the garden, getting back to losing weight, and finishing our goat cow barn this year. Awesome, awesome. Good plans and good things to have in place. Yep, let's check in on Jane. She says, doing okay, survived the windstorms last night. Yeah, it was quite something, wasn't it? It's crazy. Everybody's experiencing wind. Kelly's got 70, 80 mile an hour winds right now in Montana. And there was a woman or individual joining us from Maine in their 80s that was experiencing some hefty winds too. And they're supposed to get some crazy snow. Kelly's, yep, Jane is, everyone has had winds, it seems. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Deb says, you 2-3 have been such a highlight in my life since meeting you, especially pertaining to our live chats and Zoom. Awesome. You know, and I feel the same way. We need to feed each other's fire and help each other to accomplish our goals. I really think that's really important. You know, this group and this community is more than just knowledge and learning, but when you have this is basically a mastermind group of people that are sharing their knowledge on homesteading and off-grid living and being able to support one another in the process, not only in helping them, but to cheer them on. And I think that is so important. We all need that in our lives, and so often we don't have those people. So here we are, we have it in this regard. Howdy, Rick. Glad to have you joining. We are talking about things that we would like to accomplish today. What are some things you guys would like to accomplish? And are you putting things in place to get them accomplished? So Shelly says, I was having a nap yesterday after work as still healing, but the wind picked up and the window was open and rain was hitting me in the face. What a rude awakening. Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. You know, we had the windows open pretty much all weekend this weekend because we were cooking all that food for our early resurrection day that it was so warm in here. It's crazy. I'm working on getting a new cooking device, which I hope to share with you soon, that will sit on top of the wood stove for days when it's warmer so that we can heat our coffee, cook our eggs, and it'll also enable me to bake. It'll be a propane unit, but it'll be our unit for the summer months so that it doesn't get so horrible hot in here. We will have the outdoor kitchen then, but that's not fully in place yet. So, and I'll have my solar ovens. And he's got the chainsaw going right outside the window. I don't know what he's doing. Let me see here. Mill says, networking is important. Glad to be here to learn. Yeah, it is. It is extremely, extremely important to be able to have a community that you feel a part of, that you relate to, and that you can grow with. I mean, to be able to support each other, you know, like even with Carol popped in my mind too. You know, there were so many people that were under lockdown for so long. So this has been such an amazing time frame and time period for us to really grow and nurture. It's been for me, it's been very helpful in so many ways. It's been also really awesome to see people coming in from all over the world and gaining, you know, knowledge from each other and support from each other. So it's been pretty awesome. Jane says, I just got done watching a webcast through the MS Society, and they were talking about the need in this time to connect with online like-minded people. I'll tell you what, it's really important because it's hard. It's really hard in person to find like-minded people in our areas, I believe. I mean, they're here, but it's hard to find that in a lot of places, I feel. And right now, more than ever, there's agendas, there's sides, there's division, and it just gets a little weird. So I've seen so much growth online and in our community. It's just been so amazing. And I'm really grateful for you all and love you all so very much. Carol says, I'd like to accomplish getting rid of stuff I don't need, sorting our little greenhouse and plant something and sleep. That would be nice, lol. Well, and the thing is, put a plan in place for that to start working in one room at a time and focus on one room at a time. Don't leave that room. This is the key thing, because oftentimes when you're in one room, you have things in that room that need to go to another room. And when you leave that room to put those things in the other room, you never surface back to the room you started in. So what you do is you create piles of things that need to be moved from that room to where you would like them to be. But you keep working in that room and in that space until you're finished. Or, at the end of whatever time frame you set to be in there. And oftentimes it's good to just, when I do that kind of stuff, I like to be in and really dig in. But it's also good that if you have limited amounts of time, to set like a timer and be in there for an hour and sort through it so that you don't get overwhelmed. And when you're done with your hour, grab the piles that need to go elsewhere. Don't just plop them in the other room though. Put them in their home. So by doing that, you will easily keep progressing and finish one room, which will give you satisfaction, and then you can move on to the next room. So that's my thoughts and my suggestion to you in attacking that. And it gets really easy to keep our small space organized, which I love. Like Monday mornings are my morning, especially today. I had lots of dishes to wash from our gathering yesterday. So I cleaned up the kitchen. I put clean sheets on the bed, took care of that, and got everything that it feels good and looks nice, and swept too. We had an extra dog in the house. Can you imagine that? We had 5 people and 4 dogs. It was really funny. And the fourth dog was the Alaskan Malamute that was shedding. So we also had windows open. So it was like a wind tunnel of hair. It was crazy. So it was nice to get that swept out. And that's just kind of the nature of the beast, pun intended. So there you go, Carol. I hope that helps. And then maybe you'll be able to sleep. Maybe you should take naps in between your shifts of tidying. Jane says, I chuckled and thought I have that. Oh. Good evening, Rick. Miss Carol says, yes, Carol's from the UK. So she is like, it's like midnight there probably by now. Wait, I hear the chainsaw. He's not cutting my bathroom door, is he? No, I don't know what he's cutting, but I know he's not cutting the bathroom door. That bathroom door you could like hide under and protect yourself from any kind of threat. That baby's not going anywhere, that's for sure. But I did notice that the little piece of wood that toggles on there was a little ready to go around in circles, so it probably just needed tightening. Who knows what he's sawing up. It's hard to tell what he moves from one thing to the next. Kelly says, asking for prayers for the neighbor, their granddaughter, 1-year-old, drowned in the river here yesterday. Oh my gosh. Mike and I helped perform CPR. It's hard to lose anyone, but a child is tragic. Oh gosh. Prayers for you guys too. That's got to be heart-wrenching. Oh gosh, so sorry. Yes, we will definitely be praying for the neighbors. And if anybody else has any prayer requests, please leave them. Rick, where are you joining us from? For some reason, I'm thinking the South, but I can't recall. So share where you are joining us from, and it's good to have you on here. Jane says, Carol, I feel good when I get rid of stuff. It is really such a good feeling to get rid of things. So good. It's also good to stock up on certain things. The Mountain Boy was here yesterday. He's like, you wouldn't happen to have this and this? I'm like, yes, I do. So donated to the college house again, and that felt really good. And keep Austin in your prayers. He is doing really good. He starts his new auto tech on the 5th of April. When I jump off of here, I got to purchase his books. So we're kind of loaning him money for the books right now, but just say prayers for him for provisions. He is caught up on his rent, but his new rent is due April 1st, and of course his phone. So far, God is providing. He is providing really good for him, and I'm really excited. I'm going to see him in a couple weeks here, like a week and a half, 2 weeks, and one of Austin's struggles is because he is low on finances, he doesn't like to leave the house much because he's trying to conserve on fuel. So I was doing a little research, and there are some really cool hiking trails within 3 to 5 to 8 miles of his place. And like I was sharing with him yesterday, short jaunts like that are not going to waste his gas in his Subaru. So I'm wanting to educate him and his house buddies on some places they can escape to for some really good hiking and just renewal. So I'm looking forward to that, because that is like totally my element, getting out and doing that stuff. So it'll be good for me too. Okay, so let me see here. You guys are good. We got some conversations going on here. Shelly said, definitely praying for your neighbors, Kelly. And Tammy's praying. Carol said, that's what I've been doing, moving it room from room. Now I need to get rid of it. Yes, we'll create a holding space where you are going to put things to get rid of. And when you are able to get out and get rid of them, that should be your first angle of attack then. So create a space just for what needs to be gotten rid of, and then get it out, because the key thing is not to keep piling on top of it, is to get it gone. Jane says, yesterday I gave a lady who was looking for birch branches a bunch for her macrame wall hangings. Felt good to get rid of, and she was so happy. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Oh yeah, Carol says, oh no, Kelly, that was awful. I can't even imagine what they're going through. I know, oh gosh, they're so tiny and just so precious. Did Austin and cousin named Ben come for a visit? Mountain Ben is a friend of mine's son, and Ben lived with us for 2 or 3 years. And then he moved to Washington to work with family on doing farming. So he comes back periodically and visits, goes hiking with us and stuff. He's like son number 2. He's 25 and Austin's 24. So he could be my son. So he calls me mom. He's a good egg. So that was who came to visit. Carol, I knew what you meant. And Rich is from Kentucky. I thought, okay, awesome. So what is something you are trying to get accomplished, Rick? And do you have a plan in place? Mill says, very, very sorry for their loss. And Jane says, to Kelly, so awful, prayers. I imagine your river's really, well, you've not had a lot of moisture. Was the river real high? I'm praising God that they were able to get to the child too. That's just so hard. Prayers for the sweet neighbors and their loss. Did they have other children, Kelly, as well, or was that their only child? Toyka says, Carol is wondering what Kelpie was. I was speaking her language. I got it. Jane says, bowl and pitcher is a beautiful area. I'll look that up. Thank you, Miss Jane. Carol says, Toyka didn't see it till I pressed it, lol. Yeah, the phones are always fighting with me. Spell checker changes my words all the time. Not always to the nicest of words either. Kelly says, I've given up finding like-minded folks in my area. I've looked for years. Yeah, it's hard to find them. And what's funny is, yeah, it's just hard to find them. And the ones that are really like-minded like us live way back in like we do. There are definitely lots of like-minded people here. But we just always seem so busy between trying to get homesteads in place and our work and stuff. We're very devoted to what we do, and we have plans and goals. So it kind of keeps us here too. And we don't like to leave much. So I really thoroughly enjoy my time with you guys, because it fulfills that need for me, but it also enables me to be in place. And I think for you guys, it's an enjoyable thing to not have to go anywhere to be able to do this. So you can do things while you're chatting and listening. So it makes it nice. Jane says, ha ha, I've put everything in one room piled high, waiting for garage sale season to rid it. I believe it. I believe it. That's what it looked like in our place too. Austin's room became the space of everything. So Rick says, just trying to keep everything going here at the house. Yes, that is and can be a task, especially getting, gardening in place. You are probably experiencing warmer weather than we are. We've had rain and snow and winds, and I don't know about your weather, if you had any of the tornado winds or anything that went through last week. Kelly's got 70, 80 mile an hour winds today, and we had 50, 60 mile an hour winds here yesterday. So we were like buttoning things down. Jane, did you hear me that Clem got blown over in the winds last night? We were kind of chuckling about it because it now has a name. So when we associate or say the name, it relates us to you. Kind of funny. Yeah, I'm going to have to see what kind of good stuff you have at your garage sale. Are you selling your Harleys? That might be one of the things I'd be interested in. I'll tell you, I would not mind getting back on a Harley and catching some wind. Shelley says, I was way too impatient to get rid of things and to find a time for a garage sale. I just donated most of the good things and then threw out anything that was no good. Rick says, been a while since finding this channel again. Did you guys end up selling and relocating? We did. We sold in April of last year on Good Friday, no less. God blessed us with that. And we did work there and were able to stay there and house sit or caretake until the end of September. And then in the meantime, we were ridding the land of stumps and clearing the building site. And started building in September, got under roof end of November, and then continued to put things into place. We're pretty good now. So there is a playlist that you can, if you feel like binge watching, you can watch the whole build. We did a day-to-day, and we'll get back to doing the day-to-day when we start doing the greenhouse. But it's TrayerWilderness.com/tinycabinbuild, and it'll take you right to the playlist. If anybody else is watching the replay or watching and would like to binge watch our build, you can do that. Most of the videos were short in the very beginning, and then they started getting longer toward the end, but it's pretty digestible, and you can see what we did. It's pretty awesome. We live in a 12 by 16 cabin with a second floor, and it is absolutely awesome. And I recognized your name right off the bat, so I'm glad you're back and joining us. We would love to have you joining in. We've got an awesome community, Rick, and if you are unaware, we have a community area where we also chat. Imagine Facebook and a Facebook group without all the garbage. So TrayerWilderness.com/community, and you can sign up for free. And the Mountain Man's blacksmithing class will be going live hopefully next week. I'm finishing up taxes this week. So Shane says, poor Clem, man, he's heavy too. Yeah, right. And it got put on its side. Just crazy, crazy. You just sold one, Jane? You'll have to keep me in the loop. What did you sell, if I might ask? Mill says, not a wind in your hair, girl, unless it's a roller coaster. I used to have my Sportster. We sold that before we came out here, and I am like jonesing to get on a bike again. I miss that tremendously. I don't like roller coasters. I get sick on them. I get motion sick on those bad boys, especially when they hit the corners, and especially the old roller coasters. Oh, no kidding. You sold an Indian? Oh, yeah, you got to keep me in that loop, sister. That's one of those things that's on my list. I don't know if I could afford it now, but I would love to stay in the loop of what you are ridding right now. Jane says, keeping the other now. Hubby will keep his as it's for teaching requirements. Oh, cool. So he does the classes for the motorcycle licenses. That's pretty cool. Jane says, roller coasters scare me. We have big ones here. Yeah, and the wooden. The last time I was on one, I was in high school. My girlfriend and I were on one of the old wooden roller coasters, and when we came down the one hill and went around the corners, we banged heads. Probably had concussions because we both had headaches for 2 days. It was terrible. I never got on one after that. No way. Yes, that's what. Oh, Jane. I wish I would have known, but I couldn't have done it right now anyway. I bet you did have people in line. All right. Well, if you can put me on the list, that would be awesome. Rick says, okay, thanks for the update. I've got to go help my grandsons. Blessing to all. Blessings to you too, man. It's good to have you on here. God bless. And thanks for joining. And guys, I do need to jump off of here. I have to go purchase books for Austin's school. So I want to do that before it's time to make dinner. So guys, this has been awesome. We've had good conversations. So you guys have shared what you are wanting to accomplish. So create a plan. And Carol, I am so glad to hear you getting all your growing in place. And don't be discouraged if things don't grow right off the bat. Keep doing it. You've got a cute little setup there that you can keep adding things and doing your greens. I don't know if you do a lot of lettuces or kale or any type of greens. That's a great thing to grow in there that you could have salads on a regular basis. So, and tomatoes, I can't wait to have our greenhouse for fresh tomatoes. Oh gosh, I can't wait to have our greenhouse. I will be growing all kinds of stuff. But Kelly, yes, share your garden plan. Tammy, if you have a garden plan that you are willing to share, share that. I know that we can all glean information from each other. And as I said, when we get our greenhouse in place and start that process, we will share that whole thing with you. So and Deb, I like your idea. So share with us when you are getting that in place and going to travel. Deb says, thanks so much, Tammy and all, for great conversation. Makes good time enjoyable. It does, doesn't it? This is awesome. Mill says, bye for now. See you soon. Love and prayers to all. Nicole says, I think not trying to over spiritualize. I'm wanting a season of quieting myself to be taught by the Lord about many things, but right now about my kids. I have 5 and I want to love them well. I think that is a fabulous idea. And based on what I've seen of your new location, you've got the perfect place for that, Nicole. And no, I don't think that that's over spiritualizing anything, because when we take that time to go into that still quiet place, God will teach, nurture, and grow. So it's awesome. And I am striving for that myself, just to improve myself, my health, my well-being. And I'm taking the mountain man along on that journey. So I think that's awesome. I think that's really awesome. And I'm glad you shared that. Tomato pie, right? I know. And tomato sandwiches. Fried green tomatoes. Yes. Toyka says, bye all. Love you. Have a terrific day, night, middle of the night. Right, exactly. Jane says, you all have a great week till we chat again. I'm going to say a quick prayer before you guys jump off and just wish you well. Papa, I just love you, and I thank you for all you're doing in our lives. Thank you for helping me to figure out what's going on with my body. Thank you for helping others to heal and find the right things as well. Continue to guide and direct them in their healing path and help them to understand their bodies. And just thank you for this good conversation, this time we had with you, for all of the great new people that have joined in, for Rick joining us again, and SJR from Maine. I love that you keep sending people our way, and the growth that we have, and just how you're nurturing our community. And I just ask that you put your hand on everyone till Thursday. Just give them a good week. Allow this to be the springboard to get them into their week, and to create plans and put things in place to reach their goals, and to accomplish the things they want to accomplish. And don't let anything stop them. Just because we have things going on in our country does not mean that we have to live in stillness and be unable to accomplish things. We need to continue to keep striving forward. And thank you for giving us the courage and the strength and the desire and the ability to step out of our comfort zone and out of the splat to keep persevering towards your goals that you have for us. So thank you for all you do. Thank you for the great abundance you're going to provide for each of us. And thank you for loving on us. Also, please be with Kelly and Mike with what they experienced yesterday. I know that's got to be heavy on their hearts. And please be with their neighbors with the loss of their child. That is just so heart-wrenching. So please be with them, and be with everyone today. For spoken and unspoken prayers. And thank you that Nicole and Kayla were able to join us today. How awesome. And just be with Nicole on her desire to delve deeper into just the quiet space. And just be with everyone that has put their desires out there. We love you. We thank you, and ask all this in your holy and precious name of Jesus. Amen. Okay, guys, so you guys all have a fabulous rest of your week. And I will see you Thursday morning. And I am scheduling our community-only Zoom meeting. So I will mention that and let you know when that is on Thursday so that we can do that and have our face-to-face. I just think that'll be so much fun.
Carol still on there?
Yes, Carol just said sorry Lorenzo woke up. No worries. Yes, she's on here. Why weren't we going to tell her? She was afraid you were taking the chainsaw to her bathhouse.
No, I was actually split you some firewood so you can stay warm in your bathhouse.
There you go. So he was there you go. So he's creating a sauna wood for you. So awesome. Well, you guys all have a wonderful rest of your day. I love you all, and stay safe and healthy and focus on your goals. Sterling says hi for the second time because you keep coming in and going out. So Sterling said hello.
Hope you're doing good, man.
All right, guys. I got to go purchase books. So love you all. Have a good rest of your day. And I will see you Thursday at 10:30 Pacific Standard Time. God bless.